Wherever you are, make it TFR. Truth Frequency Radio.
Good morning, TFR.
Good morning.
Hi, this is Alan. I like Ironworx because it's where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came.
I love Ironworx with Josh, Walt and Zack. It's like sitting in your front room having a cosy chat with your best friends.
Hi, it's Diva here, and I just want you to know that Ironworx with Josh, Walt and Zack, it's definitely my favourite dose of reality. Come join the family and keep it flat.
Why sleep in when you could get your dose of iron in the morning? Listen to the Ironworx on TFR.
This is Enlightened Dawn. Roses are red, violets are blue. Iron Realm Media is the best on the planet. To this show, I will forever be true. You guys are truly the best, and I love you guys. I'm so thankful to have you in my life.
Do you like listening to space letters from Never a Straight Answer? Then tune in to the Ironworx with Zack, Walter, and Josh. Break clear of the fear on the Ironworx and become an Iron Scout.
It's Friday, my dudes.
Happy Friday, my friend.
Thank God it's Friday.
Yes, and the TGIF to you all. Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to the Ironworx, where, believe it or not, I actually woke up on time. Yay! So, yeah, we are here. Always a good time. Glad to be with you guys this morning. We are joined by Mr. Walt Johnson, Mr. Zack Zabala. How are you doing, gents?
Howdy, howdy. I am here. It is Friday.
It is.
Waking up.
Trying to wake up. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Turn the coffee machine on without a coffee cup. So that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah. Good morning, Zack.
Yeah. So how was the week? Josh.
Go, Josh. Right.
Yeah, well. So last Saturday, I was doing a little bit of yard work. Thought it's a little hot for grass right now. But what I will do is be preemptive, and I'll just go ahead and get all these sticks picked up. So I got the son out there, and he got the little sticks, and I decided to start getting the big sticks. And, well, we had this one pretty big branch that had fallen. And I drug it about halfway down into the backyard, but it just wore me out. So there it sat for a couple of days, and the grass started to grow up through the branches of this big branch. So last weekend, I went to go grab it and haul it the rest of the way to the burn pile, and I grab a hold and give it a good tug, and there it is, rooted deeply amongst the tall grass. Pretty sure I pulled something real good when I gave it a yank. Oh. So I've been hurting and being sore, but surviving. And then we get a rainstorm. So I have to run home and start bailing out the basement and saving it and digging. So basically every day for the past 3 days, I've had to come home and shovel or squeegee or clean the basement somehow. So I just don't ever get a chance for my back to actually heal. So I'm actually in quite a bit of pain right now. As long as I don't move, I'm good. But really, it's the transition.
Man, I'm sorry to hear that. Ain't nothing like a backache, trust me. Mine's just twinged from doing housework around the house. Well, I had to move some extra crap here, just trying to rearrange things a bit since we haven't done it since the kids were officially got out and about, and their rooms were kind of de facto storage that have become just piles of crap everywhere. So trying to make some sense of it, get stuff they want out, or somewhere else or whatever. So doing that kind of crap, bending wrong, picking up wrong, reaching over too far wrong, sciatica, that kind of crap. Nothing like what you're doing to yourself, dude. Good Lord. Sorry to hear that. There's nothing worse than I got to do it and I can't because my back's fucked up. But I do it anyway.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's the one.
How's your
pain.
back, Zach?
Besides like a toothache, back pain is the worst pain I think I've ever felt. Well, kidney stone, that's number one.
What about ears? Ears and teeth are pretty good.
Yeah, like I said,
ears are a nightmare.
But nothing beats a kidney stone.
No,
Yeah.
no, that's not even in the realm of either of those, or any of that, like toothache, bellyache, or whatever. That's none of that. Even having a child. No, sorry, women, sorry, ladies, love y'all. It's tough. Yes, labor sucks. Yes, that's a watermelon-sized creature. That creature is not covered with razor fucking shards of glass and trying to claw its way through your body as it leaves. So there's a little bit of difference. Plus, you're designed for that.
I've had 3 children and I've had 1 kidney stone, and I would have another child.
Have 6, 8 more kids, right? Hell yeah! It had me on the floor praying to die.
I went drinking every single night just so I didn't feel the pain when I went to the bathroom.
Yeah, it had me praying for death. Either stop this or take me, Lord. I can't do it no more. And he decided to pass it for me because it was the next one. It popped on out, and it was just like, Anyway, that's enough of that horror story. Good God. Good morning. Welcome to Ironworx. Cringiest Radio at 504, whatever time it is. 4:05. I meant I can't talk.
Whatever time it is.
Whatever fucking time it is. We don't worry about that thing anymore. We gave up on the clock.
Right.
It's just bad for you.
It's all temporal flux around here anyway.
I was trying to talk to people and say hey in chat, and I got sidetracked. I don't know who I stopped on. So I got to go back, check my haze, and see who I said hey to last. Okay, there it is. I'm going to go back up and start again. Yes, there's a method to my madness. Mostly it's just madness.
Yeah, so we got a lot of rain these last couple days.
Yeah, that we did.
Big storm came through here, and I mean, I'd never seen anything like that on the radar around here, not yet. We were getting emergency warnings, and we were supposed to get an inch of rain in under an hour.
1 inch?
Yeah,
You said an inch of rain in less than an hour?
Yeah.
We got 10 in less than 3.
Oh, yeah. I heard about your little crazy disaster. Cammie was telling me about that. That's insane.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous.
Flashing everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
This area.
Almost every highway was shut down at some point somewhere for being under the water.
7 inches in an hour?
Yeah. Well, it was 10 inches in 3 hours.
Oh, okay. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've ever heard of rain falling that hard.
Yeah. It took me a minute to try to even comprehend that. 10 inches in 3 hours. Imagine you got 3 inches in an hour for 3 hours. That's insane.
Yeah, we got 1 an hour. They were freaking out around here.
And rained almost every day since. So as saturated as the ground was from 10 inches in 3 hours, now it's just chock full. And yeah, I almost didn't even make it home yesterday because I wasn't sure I'd get it out of the puddles I had to drive through. It was nuts.
Jeez. Well, that's my truck. So, you guys turn on your FE clock apps to pop?
No.
Not yet.
Huh?
As fun as that idea is, I just don't want my phone going off all the time.
And I can appreciate it being just a single little pop that you hear 30, 40, 50 times a day. It's much less annoying than Furley's playing, a dozen times a day. But damn, I don't even want to acknowledge my phone that much.
No, you don't have to.
But
It's
you
a
do
pop.
mentally know that it's there.
You know
And just
exactly
hopping
what
on the phone, and it's just me. It's me.
As soon as it happens, you know what it. You don't have to go look at your phone. I just grin. Hell, I grin when it's like 11 o'clock. I'm trying to fall asleep and the thing pops. I don't even turn it off then, and I still get this weird. To me, I can't explain the feeling. It's like picking a lock. You just get this little jolt of hee 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 hee. That's just me though. I love it. It's just keep going. You guys are doing it. What you're doing isn't for not. It's a great reminder.
I could see that being fulfilling in that way.
Absolutely.
Where it may not reflect our passion and dedication here in the subscription numbers, or total watch time, or any of those other analytics that YouTube likes to give us. I guess it would be pretty satisfying just sitting back and listening to all the new ones pop up, knowing that it's at least in some small way a result of what we've been doing over the last damn near decade.
It really is, man. It's an awesome feeling. Like I can't explain it. I don't know why I get so happy. I know it's going to pop eventually, Yesterday it popped like 4 or 5 times in 10 seconds. That was real cool. Yeah, it's just fun. I don't know what it is about it. It just makes me happy.
I'm now 106 people around here in my 50-kilometer radius. 106.
That's epic, dude. That's really epic. Let me see. I think I've still got like 6 or 8, but I'll double check.
I will say that's pretty effing satisfying too, with no pops at all. Just looking down and seeing 106.
No pops.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't need a welcome.
Can't wait after this year at Flytoberfest, because 30 something before Flytoberfest last year, and we're up over 130 now, 140. So yeah, the next one's going to be, we're going to turn South Carolina blue. Ooh, and Karen B may have found a natural rock formation where I could drop the magnetic balls.
Oh, wow. I'd forgotten all about your balls, Zach.
Yeah, I think about them every once in a while.
It's always a good idea. Every once in a while. Never let them stray too far from your thoughts.
Oh. So I've been putting it out into the ether. What the Flat Earth lab is going to look like. And all the little gizmos and gadgets we got to get to start it. We got quite a few things already to get going. But I want to vacuum. I was laying in bed last night designing a vacuum chamber. Big pieces of acrylic. That's how I fell asleep. Yeah, you got to put this stuff out into the ether, right?
Wouldn't a dome make more sense?
It would, but getting that to, I want it to be at least like 3 feet by 3 feet by 3 feet. So I don't know. I don't know how. It'd have to be a pretty big dome. I have to get Chris Pontius on that. Acrylic's expensive too. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, especially as thick as you're going to need it.
Yeah. When you get into the real thick pieces of acrylic, that stuff ain't cheap. But yeah, I've been planning out the just the edges, how it's all going to lock together. It's going to be like a puzzle.
So here's one for you, Zach. Vividness 420 is actually not volunteering this morning because it's not Tuesday, so she's able to join us this morning. And she says, by the way, Walt/guys, I've been pondering about the high pressure can't exist next to low pressure without a container. Doesn't that actually occur in the weather inside the container? And Zach, you did a video about this, did you not?
You did indeed.
About pressure differentials?
Oh, yeah, I did. Okay, yeah. Yeah, we did this live, actually.
Yeah, you were in Florida.
Too. Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely a pressure gradient for sure, but even pressure differentials horizontally, because this place is huge. But the thing is that high pressure is always going to go towards that low pressure. It's going to try to mediate, even though it's never going to. And believe me, you don't want it to everything to equalize. I'm pretty sure everything will turn back into a liquid once it does all that. That means it runs out of energy. Pretty much the sun and moon and us breathing, the plants and animals and gases releasing from the deep at all times. This is such a dynamic system that you're going to have high pressure next to low pressure at some time, but that high pressure is always going to seek equilibrium. Whereas in space, how the story goes, we have a high pressure system next to, nothing. That wouldn't work. Eventually it would try to equalize. And here on Earth, it always does. That's why they always say, oh, we have a high pressure system pushing this low pressure system out of the way. But yeah, it's all trying to equalize. But yeah, I was thinking about that. That'd be a cool one to have too. Something like that in the lab. Oh yeah,
So Viv,
the cow farts. Sorry.
Right. Viv said, forgot that. I'm sorry, I read it wrong. Missed that video. Have to watch. And damn it, excuse me. I am so sorry. The cough is getting to me as I'm speaking. Sorry. Okay. So yeah, highly recommend that video. When you find it, Viv, let us know. Because unfortunately, all too often, we did not go back and correctly identify a show being whatever, like having Zach just did this amazing live thing that happened live. Because most times, or a lot of the times, those things kind of happen off the cuff, on the spur of the moment, in the middle of a show that was completely about something else. Maybe a show we had no topic for, and we were just yapping. And so, long story short, the chances are that won't be identified, labeled, description-wise, any of that accurately, and that's terribly bad on us.
Channel.
You got that one on your channel, Zach?
I could have sworn Zach had a standalone, just him and a tank.
Did he?
Yeah.
He may have.
I
just remember him doing it live too. I remember you doing it live because you were there with that guy David. Was that him? Mark something. Damn it.
Oh, stop saying names. Adam.
I know. Adam. There you go. I knew I would find it. I knew I would get there. And he was the one helping you learn to weld and all that stuff.
But it was
teaching you
3 years ago.
It has been a minute.
What was the date? It was February 27th, 2019. And I will drop this link into the chat for y'all. Where am I? Okay, no. Okay. Back to where I'm supposed to be. Pressure gradient in a... Yeah, because this was... The reason I did this was they were saying it's impossible to have a pressure gradient inside a container. The gradient's there because it's just... Because gravity is holding all the gases to Earth, and they slowly get less and less and less until they just go to nothing. They were like, you can't have a pressure gradient inside of a container. And anybody that's worked around, these big companies that have huge tanks. Yeah, I mean,
right.
They have every so many feet, they have pressure gauges. so they know what's going on inside that tank, and they're not always the same. This is what I was told before I even tried this, because we had to cut a hole into that and then weld a bunch of stuff together to it to make this tank. It had the one fitting for a pressure gauge, but we built two pressure gauge or another hole so we could screw another pressure gauge into it. So it was some work to build that container. But yeah, I think it was Ace McLeod had already told me. He's like, yeah, of course. You can get a pressure gradient inside of a container. I see them at work all the time. So, oh, okay, cool. So then I did it. It was funny because the video I made, though, it would be better to go back to the Iron Realm Media one because it worked so much better.
Well, shit. Well, at least we've got an approximate time. We have an approximate date. We can probably narrow it down a little bit.
You know, if anybody out there has some time on their hands, couple of 7-8 years, yeah, we did it to ourselves, guys. We did. It's just, you know, we told ourselves early on, hey, we don't need to have 6-hour shows. Guess what? 6-hour shows. And that's usually the best ones because things are kicking and the conversation is hot and the topics are flying and we can't shut up about it. And those are the ones that are great. Not that there aren't some amazingly great short shows as well. I'm just saying it's a big pile of stuff to go back and edit through and figure out what was what when it's that much. So we all jumped in, taken stabs at it, downloaded shares of things and put them aside and have them labeled differently, probably in a folder somewhere I can't find any longer in these 2 terabytes of junk that I can't find stuff in. So again, our own fault. What were you saying, Zach?
Oh yeah, even when you know, oh, it was 3 years ago, when you do hundreds of shows a year,
right?
It yeah, it's hard to sift all that stuff. But I am in the area. Let's see.
Live show search. I love
it. Oh, I found it.
That guy. Did we label it? Is it actually that one we did? That one we labeled?
Nope. It's talking about the John D. peer-to-peer is in the title. Oh, test. Call it an experiment if you dare. But it's got my picture on it and me playing with the valves.
See, we were good on that one. Sometimes we were when we thought about it. Josh.
Broken clocks, ladies and gentlemen. Broken clocks. And you know what I have not done is log into the vault to see exactly how much time we have left.
Oh, good, because I have not done that either. I was not even aware for sure if we were on the frequency or not. Kenneth?
We are. We got about 3 minutes. 3:45.
Wow. You must be psycho. I mean,
yes. That too.
Brian, yes. In my setup, there was heat involved and, well, cold, but that's heat, I guess. Yeah, I used ice in the bottom, and I had a heat gun to heat up the top. And the most pressure was actually in the bottom. But usually it's the heat that creates higher pressure. It switched it around, and the higher pressure was still on the bottom. It was weird. Oh, you're so welcome, Vividness. Getting back into playing. Man, this Tesla coil is just amazing. It blows my mind. I can take 2 volts and turn it into like 200 volts with that thing. I want to know, because I mean, each wind, it steps it up a little bit more. So what happens if you wind it like have a 50-foot coil? I don't know.
Lots of power?
Yeah. Cammy did a great job. Cammy and Karen last night on Glowbusters Tech. They were explaining magnetic declination, and then we got into pressure mediations and stuff like that. There's a really great video they shared by Fractal Woman. Bob showed it last night, and it helped me so much comprehend what's like the mechanics going on, the physics of magnetic fields. You know, it's like two tornadoes, two vortexes. And when they're spinning the same direction, they push apart. But if the vortexes are spinning in opposite directions, they suck together. It's just that. It's such a great video. I recommend everybody go check it out. It was a fun show all around yesterday. But yeah, that video by Fractal Woman, if she's explaining magnetism to a child. And this is her way, how she went about doing it to a 6-year-old. So it's pretty easy to understand. But of course, there were some adults still having trouble getting it. Talk about Cammy, the moon map.
Yeah, I was just reading that too, Zach.
We talked about it a little bit last night.
I guess that's going to be some hot break music. Stick around. We've actually made it through the first segment of the Ironworx right here. Truth Frequency Radio, TFRlive.com, YouTube D Live, Rockfin, Facebook, Twitter. Stick around. We got more.
If I had never dropped out, I would have never dropped in on that calligraphy class, and personal computers might not have the wonderful typography that they do. Of course, it was impossible to connect the dots looking forward when I was in college, but it was very, very clear looking backwards 10 years later. Again, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. You have to trust in something. Your gut, destiny, life, karma, whatever. Because believing that the dots will connect down the road will give you the confidence to follow your heart, even when it leads you off the well-worn path. And that will make all the difference. I was lucky. I found what I loved to do early in life. The heaviness of being successful was replaced by the lightness of being a beginner again, less sure about everything. I'm convinced that the only thing that kept me going was that I loved what I did.
It's amazing how people have been raving about iLife all over Facebook. They've been posting their testimonials just because they want to get the word out because it's worked so well for them. If you're not familiar with iLife, it's a 99% pure CBD oil. But the secret is the synergy between the hemp and the ayahuasca vine, the non-psychoactive component of the ayahuasca tea. We recently received an email from a wife whose husband has Parkinson's. For the first time, he's been able to sleep through the entire night. Another customer reported that they're no longer using NSAIDs because their tennis elbow has been relieved with iLife. The reports have been phenomenal and much more than we ever expected. Everyone should have access to this. That's why if you head on over to iLife.com right now and use coupon code TFR, we'll give you $5 towards your order. And we'll even ship it worldwide. That's iLife.com. AYALife.com.
True initiation is an inward journey. It's a spiritual path that is totally inward. It has nothing to do with anything external to you.
I want to determine if the Grand Architect is indeed what I believe it to be, which is the artificial intelligence.
The initiatory path is one of self-discovery and self-revealing. It's not a journey that someone can hold your hand through.
Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I want to take you through the steps of initiation. Remember, you are divinity.
Step Beyond the Veil with Chris and Sherry Gio, Fridays and Saturdays, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Real people, real radio.
Initiating the truth frequency.
This is Truth Frequency Radio.
And welcome back. I'm just going to run with that. Welcome back to the Ironworx right here, Truth Frequency Radio, TFRlive.com. Josh, Walt, Zack hanging out with you. Walter just jamming away. I think I saw Liz mention in chat. You go, Zack.
No, finish that. What did Liz mention?
The wasps. Yeah. Wasps had hit her garden, which made me think of a story about my catalpa tree and my catalpa hornworms, because the pod season was actually pretty good. Not much on the flowers, but we got some pretty good pods as opposed to last year, which we had much of nothing. But I did start to see some catalpa worms. Now, catalpa worms are like crack for catfish, apparently. People will grow a whole orchard of catalpa trees just in order to harvest catalpa worms to freeze them and sell them as catfish bait. So I was kind of excited to have some catalpa worms this year. And about a week and a half into seeing our first catalpa worms, we see a catalpa worm that's got all this little white things sticking out of it. Like, what the hell is on this catalpa worm? So Dixie does a little bit of research, and apparently we have some wasps here too. And the wasps will go and lay their eggs in the catalpa worm, and the little eggs will act as parasites. And that's how they grow, is on these catalpa worms until the catalpa worm is just completely desiccated and dried up and gone, and they hatch and fly away. I just thought it was absolutely fascinating and a little disturbing at the same time.
Catalpa worm and catfish. Is there any reason that they named that worm catalpa, like cat, and it is loved by catfish?
Well, catalpa worm comes from the catalpa tree, and the catalpa is one of the few remaining trees that still use the Native American word for it. So catalpa is the word that the natives used for that tree when the Europeans came here. So I'm not entirely sure where catalpa came from beyond that.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, there's still some word, not trees, but like cities and areas, we still use the Native American, like, what's some of them? Milwaukee, but it's really Milwaukee or something like that. You know, they said it a little different than we do, but yeah, that's pretty wild. Wasps. That's
So
the last
there's a
thing
discussion. Oh, go ahead.
Stunk at Walt's house right outside his door.
I was about to discuss those little blind assholes. Go right ahead.
I was taking pictures of all of the beautiful wildflowers that Walt has that he just thinks, it's just, yeah, we see those all the time. Some of the most intricate, beautiful little flowers you'll ever see. He's gorgeous. I could understand, though. You see them your whole life. You're like, oh, yeah, that's just one of those. I've seen those my whole life. I had never seen anything like some of this stuff down there.
Right. That's
so
how
I'm
I
out
was
there,
in Oregon.
just snap, 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 snap. And I had seen the wasp. He'd been flying around me. I thought we were cool. He came up and stung me right on the chest. I must have got too close or something or pissed him off. But yep, I won't forget that one.
You don't have to piss them off. As I see from Zombie there, he's saying that he's got two different kinds of wasps, and they're assholes, definitely mess with him and his wife and his dogs, but they don't mess with his son. Could be a frequency thing, maybe the no fear thing. That's what Shell keeps saying. If you just don't fear them, then I'm not fearing something I don't know exists. When I'm walking away from an object that I don't even know is in the world and it goes dead center of my back and takes me down, then it's a flying asshole. Because I wasn't I wasn't after it. I wasn't messing with its nest. I was walking in my yard, doing my thing in my world. I'm not even near a tree or a hole or anything else, and you're just flying by and take me down. Yeah, you're a flying asshole.
Ton of wasps.
As far as them pollinating, I guess they do. I see that also the discussion in chat, and I know they take out pests like you're talking about there, Josh, which is again a little nightmare fuel. But I don't know. I don't know about the level of pollination they can. Oh, I say that's also there in the discussion too. Playing catch up. Yep, the debate on how much pollinating they do, but they definitely do take out pests. Thank you, George Sanford.
I learned that from Rick and Morty. That wasps lay their eggs inside of their, victim or whatever. They just go and lay eggs inside of it, and the thing goes on and lives for a while. And yeah, the babies just kind of eat from the inside out. That's
my
crazy,
parents being divorced, I would spend summers with my dad growing up, and he being a Boilermaker would do a lot of traveling. And rather than stay in hotels and crap like that, they had a fifth wheel camper pull behind and take to wherever a job was. And so that meant on summers when we were here, we would spend time in a lot of different locations, a lot of parks, a lot of nature settings. There's a lot of great RV parks out there in the world. There used to be, at least in the 80s. But yeah, we were at this one. I know I've told this story too, as I'm saying it. I know I've told you guys about it, but there was a thing running across the ground. I thought it was like a little squirrel. And my dad and one of the guys he worked with that was there after work hanging out, go get a jar. That's a tarantula. I'm like, holy shit. Okay. I don't know if I want that thing, but I'll get a jar. And as I approach it with the jar, my dad says, wait. Watch what's happening. This wasp kept flying down at that fucking tarantula. I mean, this is a hand-sized tarantula. This is not like little tiny, this is Boris the spider. And the wasp would fly down at it. And, dude, it looked like a horror movie, like where they blow up the video for the giant spider, and it's just a real spider, but giant footage, whatever. And it would rears up, the legs up. That's what this thing kept doing every time that wasp would come at it, and they would dive down at him, and he would rear up at it, and he would dive. It was nuts. And that went on for 8-10 minutes, going across this whole big trailer park area and the campground area where the the tables and the barbecue pits and all that was a little ways away from where we were sitting at the trailer. And the fight was working its way that way, but it was still a good probably 150, 200 feet away. On one of those passes, that wasp finally caught that spider just right and flipped him over on his back, and it got on him and just started nailing him with his back stinger until that wasp just finally curled up into a little ball. I mean, the spider did. And that wasp proceeded to drag that thing, that 150, 200 feet, over to a table, up a leg, like a metal bent leg thing that was part of the table seat arrangement of a picnic table, got him up into the pipe part of that thing to put him in there to then lay its eggs and eat them eat their way out of it. My dad was telling me the story of what was going on as I'm watching this, probably about, 12, 13 years old, still young enough to be totally terrified and have nightmares about it. Yeah, but it was cool. It was fun watching it, like watching the Wild Kingdom, showing my age. Marlon Perkins.
I don't know, maybe 12 or 13. I was in middle school and was walking down to the bus, right? And we had to walk down this big hill at the end of my street. And the person's house that was on like the main road in our street on the corner, they had this huge pine tree that leaned out over the road, and there was a huge wasp nest hanging. It was probably 30 feet up in the air. You know, not you could walk underneath it, you didn't notice anything. Well, I had the idea one morning. There's a little football laying there, and I'm a good, you know, like 25, 30 yards away from this thing. And it's one of those little smaller footballs, like half the size of a football. You know, so a child has a lot easier throwing the thing. And I just launched this football at the wasp nest, thinking there's no way I'm going to hit it. No big deal. My sister's walking already. She's in front of me. There's no way I'm going to hit this. I'm just going to throw it up there and see how close I can get. Well, bam. I mean, the football hit the nest like perfect. And about 5-6 seconds later, my sister comes screaming, flying up the street, just She had like 4 or 5 stings on her head. They just freaked out and went into a frenzy and started. She was the only person close. I felt so bad afterward. My mom, why did you die? I was like, I didn't think I was gonna hit it. Oh, stupid young stuff. Yeah, that was really my only occurrence with the wasp until at Walters when I was
until mine got you.
Yeah.
And see if it was just right here at this house that's happened at, which it has happened here at this house since I've been here, 8 years, I guess now. At least 6 times I've gotten stung. You've gotten, other people got stung. It's happened here at this house. So it's like, oh, you have a special type of wasp in your area, blah, blah, blah. No, growing up, continually. That's why I knew to go get a cigarette and because we didn't have one. We used other stuff to put on the swelling. Because I've been stung, or put nail polish on the stain because it takes it out. All that because I've been stung so many fucking times as a kid. Again, innocently walking through my yard, not bugging anybody and getting taken out. They are that way. So real quick, Zach, Josh, gardeners extraordinaire. I have told this before because I hate walking out on my stoop and my steps and my sidewalk and stepping on snails and killing them. It makes my heart hurt. And I found out putting coffee grounds around that area on the ground out there will keep them from getting to the steps and stuff. Even if it's raining, they don't want to go across it. Now, does that work? Is that good for the garden? Or you're not supposed to do that directly, right? You're supposed to let that break down and turn into compost?
Well, I mean, coffee grounds isn't as bad pH-wise as like fresh manure. You know, you have to let that sit. But if you put your coffee grounds, mix it up with some dirt and throw some lime into it, it'll flatten that pH out real nice.
That's what I was worried about. I didn't want to tell them to do that in the garden until we consulted with professionals because I knew it had some effect pH-wise. It might be detrimental at that strength. I knew once it composted, it was all fine, but just throwing it directly out on the ground might not be as good.
Never done that. Always mix it with soil and then do that with my compost.
And see, then does it lose its effect? I don't know if it's the crawling across the hard pieces of ground up coffee bean or if it's actually the pH balance that it creates around them that keeps the slugs at bay. I'm not really sure.
You could put it around your garden bed,
Well, that's what I would do. That's what I do at the house here. It's like a little barrier. When I make my cold brew, when I get through with it, I just take the big Tommy bin thing out there and kind of make a little path around. A little levee around the outside area there, out the back. Out the back where all the steps are, just to keep them from getting up on there. Because man, it kills me to step on them.
Yeah, great stuff to put on your plants to keep pests away. Diatomaceous earth.
There you go. That's good stuff. Same idea. It cuts up their surfaces, and
right
of course, it does cut them up and kill them. It won't deter them. It will take them out.
Yeah, it's not a nice thing, but
no, it's definitely not nice.
Plants.
The coffee is a nice thing. It just keeps them away. It don't hurt them. Like if you wanted to just get rid of the fucking snails, I got handfuls of salt for you right here. But that's horrible.
Yeah. The diatomaceous earth is like little razor blades to them. They won't cross it. Yeah, we had a lot of little baby caterpillars on our peas this year. And I went and covered them with diatomaceous earth, and they quit messing with them. Yeah, pH is super important in your garden. I mean, certain plants love acidic soil, and others can't live in it at all. So it's really which type of plant you're growing. But for 6-7 years up there in Indiana, I never cared about pH, and everything always worked out. I never checked it. I just used old manure and a lot of lime, and yeah, everything seemed to work out. Now, if I knew that something liked acidic soil, I'd just throw a bunch of pine needles down in the soil with it, and oak leaves. Oak leaves have a lot of acidity in them. But yeah, there's all kinds of little tricks of the trade that you can use. You never have to use any kind of chemicals or anything like that. I would steer clear of that. You never really know what is going into your garden. So yeah, all natural's my favorite. But yeah, lime, crushed up limestone is amazing. They use it a lot around here because this red clay is so acidic. It says in normal soil, you mix in, 1 bag per so many cubic feet of soil. Well, for the clay, they say you double it. Instead of using 1 bag, you'd use 2 bags, or you'd cut the, square footage in half. That's how much more acid this red clay holds than just nice black soil. I haven't seen black soil in so long. It'd probably freak me out. I remember somebody was driving around up north from down around this area, maybe Georgia. Oh yeah, it was Georgia. It was my buddy's older brother, and he was from Indiana, but he was extreme alcoholic, like wake up and slam 2 beers and have a 6-pack done in the first 20 minutes as soon as he woke up. But when he came back to Indiana after like 25, 30 years down there in Georgia, he's riding down the road and he's looking, he's like, what's all that black stuff on the side of the road there? His brother's like, dude, that's dirt. What are you talking about? At first he's like, what do you mean black stuff? He's like, well, right there. And dude, that's dirt. He's like, that's dirt? He was so used to everything being red, and you looking down and just seeing red soil everywhere, that he forgot that, there's black soil out there. Yes, George Sanford. Earthworms, one of the best fertilizers. Absolutely. Yeah, as long as they have, the good enzymes and all that stuff in there to eat, earthworm poop, you can't beat it. That stuff is gold as soon as it comes out. Black beauty soil, yeah. I remember we used to do a lot of fishing when I was real young. My father was a huge fisherman. And we had this little box that we kept night crawlers in all year round. It was like a night crawler farm almost. And that soil was so black. It was like the blackest black. And it always amazed because it didn't start off like
the blackest of black. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
It didn't start off like that. It started off, regular looking soil, but after like 4 or 5 years, it was just like this black, wet. Oh man. Yeah, good stuff.
When they move a cane field to a different area, let me see how to explain this. When a cane farmer decides he's just done and over it and sells his land off, and then they create subdivisions over the old cane fields, people who grow flowers or have a garden in their yard in those areas, it blows their mind, because even with the lack of biodiversity and circular rotation and all that like they're supposed to do, which they have started doing again. I noticed there was something growing the other day. It looked like maybe some soybeans in a field. So someone has woken up lately and started doing it as far as rotation again. Anyway, but yeah, the blackjack soil here in the cane field that you could luck out and have your house on. My in-laws, my ex-in-laws were living in a house like that, and dude, the tomatoes they were growing in that garden were unfrickin' real. They looked like small watermelons, and they were just so rich and juicy, and oh, they were good. It was real good stuff. But again, it's years of them burning off the old cane, it getting soiled back up and full of chemicals and all the other crap that they do. Yeah, but it did grow some great stuff.
Well, yeah, but when they burn them like that, that's great for the soil.
Yeah, they burn it every year. I mean, that's how they harvest. It's part of the harvest process. They burn it before they even harvest it to get all the green off of it, and then they go through and pick that burn up cane off the ground. It's pretty nuts here. Weren't you here during some of that burning when you got here? Yeah.
Yeah, and ashes too. I'll take all the leaves, any downs, sticks and stuff like that out of the yard. I never throw that stuff away. Always burn it up. Take those ashes, throw it into your compost pile, mix it in with the lime and the fertilizer and all the eggshells and coffee grounds. Ashes are amazing. They add so much more to your soil. High acidity though, so you got to watch that. You always have to add that lime.
So there's a new channel on not a new channel, but a channel I recently found on YouTube. It's like Viking Gardener or Garden Like a Viking or something like that. And he was going through and talking about how to use ashes in the garden. And he was saying it's got to be virgin ash. You can't use it if it's been out in the rain or been leached somehow. But if you have some of that nice fresh ash and you mix it 5-to-1 with water, 5 parts water for every 1 part of ash, and just mix that up really well, you can just pour it, spray it straight on plants because it's got all of the salt from those trees that don't react. So it's all still there. And it's just a matter of making it available to the plant again and getting it back into the soil. It's a really interesting channel. I've got to dig it up and see if I can't find it because he's really done some really cool things. And it's all sort of based on what he's got going on in the garden and stuff going on in his house. And it's all sort of self-contained. It's really super cool channel from a few things I've seen on it so far. See if I can't dig it.
Yeah, if you try that, make sure that you get the quantities right. You said 5 parts water to 1 part ash?
Yes.
Because, I know if you have a lot of ash and then there's water in there and it kind of starts pooling up on the top, that is super toxic. That was from alchemy. My alchemy book, I learned that stuff is like you don't even want to touch it. Water that's been pooled up in a pile of ashes. So yeah, I could see it being 5 parts water to just 1 part ash. But if you have a lot more ash than you have water, you definitely don't want to use that water. So make sure if you're going to do something like that, make sure you know what you're doing. I forget what kind of chemical it creates, but it's like it's not a good chemical, not for biological beings. But yeah, mix in lots of ash with just a little bit of water. And it, what is it called? I need to get that book back. It's in Real Alchemy, A Primer of Practical Alchemy. I let somebody borrow it again, and they kept it. That's like the 3rd one now.
Yeah, I really like this guy. Pretty good. Homemade liquid calcium, homemade liquid fertilizer, ultimate seedling fertilizer, homemade fish fertilizer. The world's easiest method for growing potatoes anywhere in the world.
Wow.
Double your potato yields. Finest natural fertilizer, homemade J-Dam. J-Dam herbal solution. All kinds of good stuff.
Nice.
I have posted the link there in the chat.
Lie? Is that what it makes? Lie?
That makes about right, isn't?
Let me see. I'll go look it up. Lie.
That might be. Because lie, I think, is very basic, and it'll give you like one of those caustic burns, like what they did on, similar to what he did on Fight Club.
It can burn the skin and damage the eyes in dry or wet form. It releases fumes when mixed with water that can harm the lungs. If swallowed, lye will burn the esophagus and can cause death. Lye is a metal hydroxide traditionally obtained by leaching wood ashes. Yeah. Lye most commonly refers to sodium
So
oxide.
what the hell takes place in a fire that turns what's going on inside of a tree or a plant into something that costs? I'm blown away.
If I can find him. But that does bring us into the end of the second half of the first half of the Ironworx. Truth Frequency Radio, TFRlive.com. Stick around. We got a whole nother half of the show coming up for you. We'll be right back.
Censorship and regulation is becoming an ever-growing problem in today's modern media. From the mainstream to YouTube and Google, the information you're looking for is buried by official narratives and propaganda. This is why TFR is 100% uncensored, unregulated, and listener-supported. The shows on TFR are not micromanaged by the station, and our hosts are free to speak their minds however they please. As such, the views and opinions expressed on our station are of those who make them. If you happen to hear anything offensive on TFR, please send us an email to toughtitty@tfrlive.com, and we'll be happy to tell you that we really don't give a damn. We stand for freedom of speech and non-censorship. If you also stand for free speech, you can go to tfrlive.com/signup and sign up for a TFR supporter pass and help us in our mission to keep the airwaves uncensored and unregulated. TFR Live, your uncensored and unregulated protection from deception.
Just now, President Putin denied having anything to do with the election interference in 2016. Every U.S. intelligence agency has concluded that Russia did. With the whole world watching, who do you believe?
So let me just say that there was no collusion at all. Everybody knows it. I'd be Hillary Clinton. People know that. But the main thing, there was no collusion. There's zero collusion. With that being said, all I can do is ask the question: what happened to Hillary Clinton's emails? With that being said, all I can do is ask the question: what happened to Hillary Clinton's emails? Where is the server? What is the server saying? Where is the server? I don't think you can go on without finding out what happened to the server. One server. I really do want to see the server. What is the server saying? Where is the server? I don't think you can go on without finding out what happened to the server. One server. I really do want to see the server. 33,000 emails gone. I think in Russia they wouldn't be gone so easily. But I will tell you that President Putin was extremely strong and powerful in his denial today. With that being said, all I can do is ask the question: what happened to Hillary Clinton's emails? With that being said, all I can do is ask the question: what happened to Hillary Clinton's emails? Where is the server? What is the server saying? Where is the server? I don't think you can go on without finding out what happened to the server. One server. I really do want to see the server.
This is the Truth Frequency Radio Network. TFR. Truth Frequency Radio.
And welcome back to the first half of the second half here on TFR Iron.
Good enough, because you beat me to the mute button. I had lost mine trying to get to it. I was banging my head along with it with my little guitar over here, and then suddenly, like, oh shit! I put my guitar down and couldn't make it back to the mute button.
Stupid bunny.
Sorry, guys. I have a new toy that I love to play with now.
Josh has a
Josh has a bunny. I have a new guitar.
I see
I'll
him
make a
chat
song
about prices of power, electricity going up 70% over there in, I think, Scotland. I see it's Liz speaking about it. So I'm not sure if that's going to be a whole United Kingdom type of thing. But 70% increase, that's insane.
It's insane that there'd be that much demand.
It's insane that people are, not people, but that they think people are that stupid to just sit back and take it. And they are. They'll just sit back and pay it. Free energy, but hey, let's pay that much more. 77% is what I saw, which is 80 almost. And that's ridiculous. It's bad. Yeah, here they told us to expect brownouts, most likely blackouts. This summer, we're also being told to expect at least 21 days without electricity in the event of a category 3 or higher, I believe. If it's category 4, it could be 2 months without electricity. I believe our good buddy Horry Sheet can tell you guys all about how that shit went down last time, as well as Rose. Speaking of, we haven't had Rose or Jason on in forever and a year. We need to get them in here soon.
We do.
But anyway, sidetracked. That definitely is, getting ridiculous. That's the power they think they have over us. And they do, because everybody just pays it and goes on with their day. And it's kind of like the whole idea of what everybody's talking about earlier about making your own food happen and how it's not an easy thing. They don't make it easy. All the extra, crap they've made it difficult to get things. Bar gardening and everything's more expensive. Then you add in all the natural things that they have managed to fuck up, manipulate, suspect rainwater, terrible temperatures, just totally out of cycle, out of sync, weather patterns, just all of it that seems to be aimed at keeping people from easily creating food that is just a fucking natural part of the plane. So, yeah, it's kind of the same idea here with the sun and free energy just floating around us in the ether, that we're paying these prices and what's coming, and they're just lapping it up. Sorry, mini rant over.
And the part that gets me the most is if you do figure out, how to get electricity not hooked up to a meter, they'll still know you're getting it. There's little relays on those big giant power lines, and they know how much is going in to each one of those towers and how much is coming out the other end of each tower. So if I've heard of people laying down 70-yard long, big, thick cables underneath the big power lines, the high intensity power lines. And they can just suck the energy right out of there and run their house and this and that and never be hooked up to a grid. But then they get a knock, a few weeks later from the power company saying, hey, we got to go check what's going on out here. We're losing. And they find your wire and then, yeah, you're in trouble. So even if you figure out ways to get around it, the way they have the grid set up is, it's horrible. It's horrible, really. I mean, I finally understand how Tesla was sending stuff wirelessly. We always like to say it's through the air. He's sending. No, he was using the ground as his capacitor plate. And if you like my pizza trays, where I reverse gravity. Well, if you use the ground as one of your pizza trays, and you have a pizza tray up here and you charge that thing up, well, if you take another pizza tray, 50 yards away while using the ground as the bottom plate, you put a charge to the plate over here, that other plate gets that charge somehow. Still not 100%. I don't know why, but it's like it creates another capacitor plate out of the air. It's that simple. And that's what we should be doing everywhere. We could have Tesla towers all over this place and energy would just be free. Now you still got to produce the energy, but wouldn't it be nice to just have a flat rate for everybody? Everybody throw in $40-$50 a month and we can run all the power. Instead of you getting charged for every single watt you used and somebody sitting around their whole career, not lifting a finger to do anything and making millions of dollars. Some CEO that doesn't know shit about electricity, but he's getting all this money because he knew somebody or he's somebody's nephew or this or that. We need to get rid of all of that nonsense. Because this place could be a utopia, really. It could be for everybody. Yeah, it's sad. It's coming, though.
Indeed, indeed. Indeed.
Blow my nose. I will be right back. I have my little sauna out here. It's not too hot right now, but my lab in the summertime turns into a sauna. I'll go sit out there and just sweat. I was like, how can you stand it out here? I said, yeah, this is my sauna. And I see why a lot of those old guys do that. I mean, sweating is super important. You're flushing out toxins, you're cleaning out your system. When it's 90-something degrees out, you really don't want to go out and exercise too much. But if I can just sit here in the garage and break a nice little sweat, just sitting here doing research, heck yeah.
So I was listening to the Higher Side Chats. I don't remember his latest guest's name, but she was all in on this, what they're calling quantum health. Water, sun, and magnetism for health. And she was really specifically focusing on the sunlight aspect. And it was just really interesting because they did start talking about like the polar plunges, the ice baths and saunas and heat treatments, infrared treatments and things like this. But it was really interesting just the way she kind of got onto sunlight and the full spectrum of light and why we need some in the morning and why we need some in the middle of the day and why we need some at night, and how not only do the actual frequencies of light that we're getting help us physiologically, but getting them in the morning and in the evening help set that circadian rhythm. And it's that circadian rhythm that sort of acts like a timing chain in a car, that everything else, as long as it's timed right, is going to run optimally. But once you start throwing the timing off, everything starts to slowly but surely go out of whack. And it's maintaining that proper circadian rhythm. One of those things that just sort of intuitively I have always understood. One of the reasons I love getting up at 4 a.m. so that I can be awake and watch that first light coming up. And she was specifically saying that's one of the biggest and easiest changes a person can make is just being awake for the sunrise. And it's one of those things I've always recommended highly. But even things like when the power goes out, I love it when the power goes out, whether it's a snowstorm or a thunderstorm, because you break out the candles and everything's quiet. The house is quiet. There's no hum of a refrigerator. There's no kicking on a fan for the furnace or the AC or any of this, the buzzing of lights, none of that. It's all off and quiet. And you can just feel that EMF field just fall down, and you're just sort of there, and you can feel just, it's a whole different experience. I've always enjoyed it. And one of these days I'm going to convince Dixie to start just throwing the breakers at night, and we'll just kill it all, because I think I'd sleep a lot better. But yeah, just
that would be epic. Taking it to that level, I mean, taking the whole breaker down at night.
That's what this
I'm
girl
already
was
like you, turning off as much as I can before I go to bed. And sometimes I forget, and I can tell when I forget.
Uh-huh.
It was so easy to fall asleep when I was out on walkabout.
Well, yeah, away from the shit.
And it's
not contained in a fucking box.
It's
Sorry,
the
go ahead, John.
circadian rhythm again, because once the sun goes down, you're just kind of sitting there like, oh shit, well, my brain's kind of telling me there ain't really a whole lot left for me to do because I don't see too good in the dark. I guess, I just sit around the campfire a little bit till I get sleepy. Sure enough, you get sleepy just a little bit after sundown. It really is crazy. She said about 30 days, just sort of resetting that circadian rhythm. And she started noticing big changes, like being hungry in the morning. She was never one to be hungry in the morning until she had about, maybe it was 90 days of resetting that circadian rhythm. And she noticed that she was actually starving, famished in the morning because of all the chemicals that are being kicked in and released when your eyes are adjusting from the dark of dawn into the first light. And the brain says, oh shit, okay, we're going to wake up. We're going to have to get adrenaline going. We're going to have to get all this other stuff going to get us through the day. And it starts pumping. It starts doing its bodily thing. That's why it was really interesting. I really recommend everybody go subscribe to the Higher Side Chats at the very least, but it has always been one of my favorite conspiracy podcasts. And
yeah, forever. I remember you early on got me turned on to that. First few weeks of meeting you, literally.
Well, because he was exactly he was a stoner that talked conspiracy, had guests on. I'm like, shit, I love this. This is hot. This is great. Come to find out, He grew up just a few miles from where I am now. And I just really kind of dug it. And early on, he would get stoned and do his shows. And I think he realized quickly that he couldn't necessarily do his type of podcasts stoned. So if you catch Greg Carlwood early, you can hear him do his show stoned, but he doesn't do him stoned anymore.
How would you even do such a thing?
I don't even know.
Water actually helped me with that whole early morning breakfast hunger thing, because for years I was not the person that would get up and eat. It would be lunch before I would finally get around to getting something in me. And kept, I always hear, oh, most important breakfast today, meal of the day, blah, blah, blah. And then something about the Native American habit of drinking a lot of water before they went to bed. And then as soon as they got up, drinking a lot of water, because it would get the organs of the body working, get them going, get them active, get the brain awake, all these things, way better than coffee or anything else. So I started doing that. I would drink a bottle, like literally crack it, drink it to the bottom before I would go to bed. And, you know, wake up in the middle of the night, have to go to the bathroom naturally, and then wake up starving. Same thing, right after I wake up, drink that bottle sitting there waiting for me. Head to the bathroom and hit that whatever I'm going to do for breakfast. French toast, bacon, eggs, whatever. But definitely, I became a huge morning person, which, as far as food, which I never was. I mean, I never did even make my own pancakes till I was in my probably 30s or 40s, just because I wasn't a breakfast eater. It's just not the meal I enjoyed. Every now and again, we do some breakfast for dinner kind of thing, and that was a different story. But waking up and doing all that early in the morning used to just be like, ew, to me. But now I'm bad. I'm off if I miss my breakfast. In fact, I'm thinking about an omelet now. I'm gonna make one in about an hour and 15, or sorry, hour 45. I'll make a mean omelet too.
It's because not only eating breakfast, but drinking water first thing is the eBay thing you can do. Mm-hmm. Surely is. Shout out to Karen B. and her wonky ass phone that just likes to throw eBay in the middle of a sentence randomly.
Is Karen in chat already?
Mm-hmm.
Apparently.
Uh-oh.
She is. She's been in chat eBay for about, I don't know, a couple minutes now.
Yeah, whenever Karen's up this early, I'm assuming she's all out of bubble gum. Yeah, whenever I see her, one of them days. So you guys want to do
real quick? Yeah, hang on one second. Jeremy in chat, wondering if anyone else having trouble sleeping lately. Curious, he and his wife and a few friends are experiencing trouble. I think we should address this because I feel it's partially due to the effect of having Jerry and crew around, because as we've all experienced in our awakening path of different layers, different levels, different scales dropping away from our eyes, different realizations, epiphanies, plateaus, whatever you want to call it, as we are on these paths, and different frequencies in us change, our brain frequency changes, our spiritual frequency changes, our awareness of things around us changes, which then changes those things, awareness. Good Lord, I'm dry mouthed, hang on. Those things, awareness of us, which then causes them to become aware of our growth, since perhaps last they checked in on us, perhaps growth they see down the road from where we currently are in our path, whatever the case may be, they then start inflicting attacks. And those attacks usually take the form of sleepless nights filled with horrible, horrible fucking nightmares. And these things are always worked up when someone like Jerry is around and has a lot of power to add to people's arsenal to keep them at bay. And so Jeremy, I know, has been going through this. We actually were talking an email, and if I've missed one, man, I apologize. I have gotten backed up on a few emails I should be on top of, so my apologies. But definitely, I know I keep harping on it, and I've sent it, and I'll harp on it some more. If it's one of those things that's hard for you to read, then do it. Get on a call with me, and we'll talk about it personally, because I know it's difficult to talk about and read some of those topics that are in the Jack London piece, How to Fight Monsters and Win, because it pulls no punches. It gets straight to what these entities are about, where they can originate from, various sources they can originate from, what they are capable of doing, what they do, what they are doing to us as a collective and individually. But it also fills you in on everything that is possible to do to take care of them, to deal with them. And I know it's a difficult read. I know it's got some stuff that if you didn't know some of those topics, then it can really make more of a awareness happen, more of an awareness that can then create a little bit of fear. But again, it's not about the fear. Get past that fear. I promise it's worth it. I promise at the end of that, you will literally be popping these fuckers like pink bubbles. I'm using that example because he uses it in the actual story, whereas mine was always green. Green was always my power. It was always my energy. It was always the crystal force field that I created around. This was all stuff I was using years before this article came into my life, literally since a teenager, when I started working out how to deal with these attacks and deal with these things I would meet up with when I would leave at night and head out of my body. And so these things are there. They do. I mean, we know they're there. There's no debating that. It's exactly. I'm sorry. I just saw Karen in chat. Green is the heart chakra. Exactly. And that's what the whole key to this technique is using that green swirling energy center of your heart and making it grow. And you can literally use it like a freaking Iron Man power beam. You can use it like a hovercraft. You can use it like a force. You can use it because it's yours. It is your energy field and it's your heart. And you grow it with love and you center in on something that's a great memory of a loving thing, a person, a place, an event, a series of things. If you build that energy and that heart place up as you're laying down and go to sleep, focus on your kids, focus on your wife, focus on your mom, focus on whatever it is that's making your heart fill up. They can't touch you. They can't fucking touch you. It's more powerful than any name you can call on. It's more powerful than any prayer you can have. It's your power. It's your fucking power. It's the power they're trying to keep us from. It's why they keep us confused and lost and chasing the fucking cheese of a 77% fucking electrical bill increase. And so we don't understand that we have that power to just defeat these fuckers. It's that easy with love. It's so easy. So wrap that love of your wife and those friends together around your heart, and you guys are unstoppable, man. You do it as a team. Holy crap. When I meet up with my tribe and we get to kicking those asses, there's just, man, it's so fucking awesome. So look, I see Karen lighting it up in chat. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I love you, lady. I love you. And I saw Liz saying it's a difficult read as well going by. So yeah, man, it just don't let them know that you're scared. And that's the secret. It's like a fucking dog or an animal. You know, as soon as they find that little fear thing, they'll eat on it and drive on it. And that's why you hear all that in the movies all the time. You know, don't let them know what you're afraid of, because that's what they use against you. Those guilty thoughts, those things you did that you shouldn't have, those things you should have that you didn't, all that crap they'll use against you. Just remember the love. Remember this place. Remember this group of people you're in right now, this chat full of loving people that are trying to send all this energy your way. We got this. Tell them to fuck off, Liz. There you go.
You need an analogy. Think of the government. They are just like they want you in fear. There's asteroids coming. There's this coming. They're going to put stuff in your head that's just these ideas or things that you did in the past that you've forgotten about. You know, I stole that piece of candy when I was 10 years old from here. And they will plant that thought in your head just to live off of the negative thoughts that you provide after that. You know, the getting down on yourself, this and that. You have to, I mean, yeah, they are parasites. They really are. And once you realize that they're there and they're doing this, it's so much easier to, it's like people that don't know that the government is lying to them never see the lies and they live in constant fear. But once you know that they're there and they're lying to you and they're doing this, I mean, how many of us get scared when they say an asteroid's coming now? There's 2 coming by this weekend, supposedly, bigger than buildings. Again, right? Yeah, we don't care. We know it's not, that they're doing that to create a negative energy. And the best, I love laughing it off. Now, lately, I haven't done it since I talked to Jerry, but yeah, you can.
Wes said it in chat too. I laugh, dude. That's the secret. If they hate when you laugh at them, God, their blood boils. Go ahead. I'm sorry. That was perfect timing.
Yeah. Yeah. Whenever you have, you know, and I know you don't want to think that they're affecting you. You know, you think, oh, this is just schizophrenics. No, we all hear these. It's your own little voice that's in your head that you hear all the time. But when they do it, it says some crazy fucked up shit. You'll be sitting there looking at your dog, petting it, and all of a sudden you have a thought, hey, I could probably just snap its neck, no problem. And you're like, why did I think that? Where did that come from? That's them. That's them fishing. Or driving down the road. Hey, let's smash into this oncoming car. That is not you thinking that. That's them. So once you realize they're there and what they're doing, the fight becomes so much easier. But just like every other problem, you have to acknowledge the problem. That's the key. Know that these things are around us at all times, trying to feed off of us. But it's not like Monsters, Inc., where they realize, hey, if we just make them laugh, the energy's tenfold.
Right? Hell yeah. Exactly. Oh, I keep forgetting about that movie. And every time somebody reminds me, it's like, oh my God, that's everything you need to know right there. Laugh at their fucking bullshit.
Just laugh. You have the power. You have so much more power in your laugh than they have with those negative thoughts. It's so easy to just poop and turn them off and they go away. They will quit bothering you. But if you keep dwelling on that thought and dwelling on it, and they're going to keep hitting you.
And you can dwell on it for a little bit, like in between segments of the Ironworx right here on Truth Frequency Radio, TFRlive.com. Stick around. We've got one more segment left. The second half of the second half. Coming up right after this. Stick around. We'll see you in a minute.
If you don't sow, you don't reap. You don't even have a chance. So if you looked at your game plan tomorrow, you might come to the quick conclusion, I got to get some sowing going. How true. Get you some sowing going. And remember, you've got plenty of time. You've got all the time there is. Some people spend enough TV time to make a fortune. I asked a guy one time what his TV cost. He said about $450. I said, you forgot to look at the price tag. He said, what do you mean? I knew he was a TV watcher. I said, that television costs you, in my opinion, at least $12,000 a year to watch it, not to own it. Owning it's cheap. Watching it is what's expensive. And I said, hey, $12,000 a year is too much to pay to watch TV. That's too much. Pay a little, but not $12,000. And he's the guy that said, I hope pay TV never comes.
The reviews for Extendivite are amazing. Here are some from Amazon. September 2018. Extendivite works in keeping my blood pressure in the normal range. I've been using Extendivite for many years now. May 2018. Great product. I use regularly and I rarely get sick. March 2018. This product has relieved what appeared to be angina pain in my chest and shortness of breath after climbing stairs. I'm quite happy about it. February 2018. My husband, son, and I have been using this product for a few months now, and we have noticed an improvement in our joints and blood pressure. Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
For 5,000 years, the world was ruled with wooden ships by one man. 242 years ago, a small group of free men crafted a new nation built on liberty and freedom. Global elites have been fighting to destroy this new nation called America ever since. Based on actual events, Charm of Favor tells a true story of how they corrupted the election system. They infiltrated federal agencies and murdered witnesses, judges, and even presidents to keep from being caught. Now, the largest and wealthiest crime syndicate the world has ever known has been drawn out of the shadows. They have killed hundreds of Americans and recently attempted to assassinate half our congressmen. Still, they escape arrest through an almost supernatural charm of favor. Read Charm of Favor and be prepared to open your eyes to what may lie just around the corner. Charm of Favor is available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble.
This is Truth Frequency Radio.
No hate, no hype, no fear. Real people, real radio.
Happy Friday, my friend.
Happy Friday, my friend.
Good morning. Here. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up!
What is dark matter?
Okay, we don't know.
That's great. That's why it's called dark.
It's exactly.
Everyone knows all reputable information comes from random people on the internet. Tell me things, internet. The earth is flat. It's like school in your hand.
Okay, dark matter is something we do not know what it is. We believe the dark matter is there, but we have never detected it. Well, I'm afraid of course, there is no dark matter out there.
There was one?
There is no dark matter out there. We need to think really hard.
And welcome back to the fourth and final segment of the Ironworx on Truth Frequency Radio, TFRlive.com. You can also find us on YouTube. You can also find us on Rockfin, DLive, Facebook, Twitter. Hell, we're several places. We's around.
We's around.
We's around. And we's back. Big Mean Josh is
Round,
back.
round, get around, I get around, get around here.
Don't mind musical Tourette.
It is musical Tourette.
I mean, we are bad when we're playing video games.
Yeah.
I don't know where these songs come from, but I don't know, Josh. I don't know if I've heard you do it so much, but I know Walt and I will just start belting out a song.
I'm getting bugged driving up and down the same old strip. I gotta find a new place where the kids are hip.
I get around, I get around.
I spend so much of my time doing it in my head, it usually stays there. Again, it's what it's
No,
like having
it
a
can't stay
conversation.
in. It explodes in. What's up, the man of next week? I see you there, Campbell. Oh, Robert asks what kind of guitar is my new guitar.
The man of 30 minutes. Just a quick shout out. Campbell's going to be going live here very, very soon.
Nice.
Wanted to make that clear. I've actually got a link somewhere.
You know, I did see that link. Now that you say that, and I went to it and I went, oh, I can't forget that. And guess what? I forgot because I'm still waking up. It happens. But yeah, thank you for reminding us all. Anyway, Robert, it is a Maestro Roadie. Here, I'll show you. It's a little guitar. It is made by Gibson.
Don't you find them so easy to play?
And it has the most amazingly hot humbucker pickup on it. I was expecting it to just be a joke when I got it. I really did. But after I saw it over there at this like estate sale for a really cheap price, I was like, let me look it up. And when I looked up and saw that it was actually made by Gibson and people were actually wanting it as actual guitarists and not just like for the kids to jam around on, I was like, well, let me grab that. And dude, you can literally bend up easily 3 steps. And I think if I had put a lighter gauge of string, I could probably do 3.5 to 4 steps. That's nuts. It sounds insanely ridiculous to do it, but it's weird. Short scale length means I am not really sure how to tune it. It seems like E is just going to be rubber bands on the string, and from what it sounds like, I haven't stuck it on a tuner yet because it's only got like 4 or 5 broken strings left on it. But it sounds like they've already got it tuned down to probably a B or an A or something. So it must be just because of the scale length, it has to have some kind of different tuning. I'll figure all that out today. It was a real late last night sudden, oh, we have to run to Lafayette because her sister found this estate sale where a guy had musical instruments and all kind of collectible stuff for sale, and it was going like nuts over there. They had police directing traffic. It was so crowded. And this guy's house was, 8-10 huge rooms, and it was packed with an unimaginable amount of stuff. I can't even, whoever they were my age and had my similar taste in music and stuff, and it was hard for me to not like spend every little bit of money I had. I already bought so many guitar magazines that I used to have copies of to learn songs I've forgotten from, and tried not to buy all the like Dynamite magazine from 3rd to 5th grade. I don't need that. I want it though. I fucking want that Farrah Fawcett cover. I want it. I don't need it, but I did want it. I didn't get it, but they wanted $12, $15 for it. They knew what they had too. There was no like, the few things I got, they were really good deals, but some of the stuff they actually had really close to what it was worth. And so, yeah, they were there to make the money. They knew what they were doing. But anyway, yeah, it was pretty nuts. Pretty nuts.
And those little guitars easier to play?
That's relative to your skill set, I suppose. It's definitely smaller frets, closer together. If I was a young learning guitarist, it would be a new type of advantage, probably. Being a guitar player that already knows a bit about it, it's just a world of difference. Like I said, the bending of the length of that neck is insane. Normally you can, to do a 2.5 step bend, that's like in the wheelhouse of like David Gilmour. That's epic. That like in the solo he does for Another Brick in the Wall Part 2, Zach. I'm looking at you, Cammy. That solo where he goes, boo, 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 that's like a 2.5 step bend. That's his thing. But to do that on a guitar with like a decent gauge of strings, that's a finger workout. But with these, it's because of the short necks length. It's great. It's great. I can't wait. I bought new strings on the way home, but it was late and I had to get to bed, so I haven't strung it up. I just turned it on and cranked it up through my amp. I'd already played it there through a little battery amp with some old 9-volt battery running down in it, which sounded epic. It sounded like some good old TJ type jam. I was like, well, that's a rough noise there. I need to get that. I need to hook up with him and jam with that. So there's nothing like a dying 9-volt battery in an effects pedal, or apparently in this amp. It just has a distinctive characteristic. Anyway, sorry. I'm all excited. I like my new guitar.
Well, here's one for you that might keep you excited. Maybe. I don't know. We got an email on Tuesday over at ironrealmedia@gmail.com from our old buddy Pablo, from whom we've not heard in quite some time.
Nice! Yeah. Dude, he was just in my head yesterday, so it might be when you read it, because I was like, wow, Pablo, I need to get in touch with him. Truly, that's epic.
I just wanted to read this out because there's a lot of you out there who I know will appreciate this too, and I really don't get the impression deep mind. This is Josh and Company. I might have been missing for almost 2 years. I want to let you know that my absence is in no way aimed at you or the Iron Scouts. This is the main reason I'm writing this. Stopping my support was due to outside factors as well. The past years have been a series of falling dominoes. I'm standing strong in the storm. My faith is strong. And at some point, TFR was no longer available on my Wi-Fi radio, which is my primary device. Then I just dropped off. Now I'm out of the loop. I'm not sure when I will pick you up again, but my heart is with all of you. Please excuse my disappearing act. I know that the Iron Scouts, there is never a need to ask forgiveness. I'm staying a hermit as much as I can, and until time does its healing. God bless all of you. Take care, Pablo. And at the bottom we put, they shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles, and they shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. So big shout out to you, Pavlo. We do miss you. And like Walt says, you are in our thoughts.
Man, that just gave me chills.
Dude, I choked up a touch. I really did. I miss him, and I'm glad things are in his heart to talk, to reach out to us. And I'm hoping that, the path, as hard as it's been, has been the one you needed, my brother. Definitely miss you and love you.
Yeah.
Liz in the chat, taking raw apple cider vinegar, but it was making her nasty taste worse. I know she was going through a lot with that. My mom, growing up, I would notice she would go through these phases of like fixing something for all of us, and then she wouldn't eat. And go fix yourself like a sandwich or something. I'm like, oh, what's that about? Oh, I just didn't want that. And then growing on, getting older, she finally fessed up to just like every now and again not wanting to eat. And that's the only way she could put it. Like food just was something, the idea of it repulsed her at certain times of her life. And she'd always been that way, she said, And I'm like, okay, that doesn't make any sense to me. I loved my groceries. I wasn't scared of them, as you guys have seen. So, yeah, it was just, and then suddenly out of nowhere, I started getting that way too. Like literally, there are times where I literally cannot figure out what to eat because nothing is appealing. And it's not just the vegetarian versus non and all that stuff. I mean, that's a whole different thing. If you start getting me down that road, then I'll go a week without eating sometimes. But it's just, I don't know, maybe as we change, as we refine these salts, as we do shift our frequency, it definitely affects the chemistry in your body, which will then affect things like wanting food, liking the taste of food, remembering when we didn't have to take food in, that we were just a fucking light being that just sucked up energy from the universe, or we were a vegetable being and we sucked up energy from the sun, or all those other times we didn't have to worry about a gastrointestinal system that I really don't enjoy at all myself, Liz. So it's not, I don't think it's an old people thing either. I mean, I started this when I was like in my 30s, probably, maybe even my mid 20s. After I had my son, I think, wow, maybe it's related to kids. Maybe your food intake changes after you have kids because you want them to live and change or grow and they get fed first. So your need and want of food backs off after you have kids. I don't know. That was just a sudden thought that popped in my head. Maybe it's an old biological thing that we have happened to us after kids come into our lives. I don't know. But definitely about my mid-20s is when I started having that thing my mom always talked about. What, Josh? I'm sorry.
I was thinking just hormonal, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Your hormones change, but there has to be a reason for it.
But think of it, maybe it's a mineral depletion too. Think of pregnant women.
That.
When pregnant women need more fiber, they eat paper. It's like for some reason women would have a strong urge to start eating paper.
Right.
And their body tells them this is what I need or this is what I don't need. I don't know. Maybe it's because nothing sounds good because you're all chock full of what your body needs and your body's saying I don't need anything right now. I don't know.
Well, Walking Axel, welcome. Glad to have you here. Asking, does Liz have metal fillings? Possibly. Those could do a lot of bad things to you. And my mom dealt with a lot of dental issues, as do I and did I. But I don't know. Maybe
lead this time. They gave us lead fillings.
Interesting.
Lead's not good for you.
Says who? No, I'm just fucking with you. Oh, sorry. It's just like anything they say is bad for you. I'm going to go get a box full of it. So give me my lead paint. I'm ready to have a snack. What was it just yesterday? Michelle and I were talking about that yesterday. Just on that trip to the Lafayette. Damn it. I don't know. It'll come back to me. Something that was good for you now and wasn't then. And I don't know. It won't come.
Shout out to Tommy that flat
That's easy for you to say.
That flat fellow. Don't miss OBL Live tomorrow night at the courthouse, 7:30.
Nice.
I dropped a link for OBL Music on YouTube. One big love.
Yeah, they're awesome.
I remembered. Okay, sorry. There's a story. I think I even included it maybe in the lettuce pile, but I know I read it and saw it. There's a story going through the MSM right now talking about the fact that science, big mad, the people we should never listen to have decided or discovered or linked up the fact that if you take naps, you're more likely to have high blood pressure and heart disease. That's the headline. If you actually go in and read the article, what it's saying is people who have high blood pressure and heart disease tend to want to take fucking naps more. It's not that fucking naps give you fucking heart disease and high blood pressure, but the headline reads that way. And I'd already read the story. So when the idiot fucks on the news, on the radio, started talking about the story or whatever break, it wasn't really the news guys. It was just the anchors yucking it up, talking about the story and like, oh yeah, I guess we all shouldn't take naps, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, you idiot fucks, read the story, number one. And number two, if they're telling us anything, then you should be doing the exact opposite every time, not any choice in the matter. Sorry, I'll stop ranting.
Been taking naps for a very long time.
Thank you. Thank you.
I was hooked up to one of those blood pressure machines, just laying in bed. It was cold in the room too. You know how they keep hospitals cold? But I was just there moving. They were freaked out because my heartbeat was only 51 beats a minute.
Right. Exactly. Thank you.
And I'm someone who takes naps. So it has
Thank you.
Sorry. One thing I definitely do not have. Yeah. Nonsense. So there is so much stuff in the lettuce pile that we haven't.
We'll never catch up.
Did you the one I put in there though recently?
Let me see which one.
It has nothing to do with space. It has to do with robots. And I know you love your robot.
Yeah, the chess.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was necrobots.
Yeah. Okay, a chess robot breaks a 7-year-old opponent's finger in never before seen move. So in Moscow, they have this robot that they've been touring around for years. I think it's decades now. And it's controlled by a group of guys that is, you know, and the robot is, you're like supposed to be playing a computer. The moves are all done in the computer, and the computer tells them what to do. And then the guys, I don't know how it exactly works, if they control all of the movements or if they program it into it and tell it what to do. And then the robot arm go, something happened where the child reached out a little bit early before it had finished making its move. And the thing reached out and grabbed the child's finger and put enough pressure to break its bone. That's a lot of pressure. Well, I don't know, 7-year-old. But yeah, a robot has officially hurt a human being. Like, again, I don't know. You figure there'd be sensors or something like that. Like, hey, if somebody puts their hand this close to the thing, you automatically stop. You would think. But yeah, broke a child's finger. And all the president of the Moscow Chess Federation said was, this, of course, is bad. End of quote.
They tried to blame it on the kid, apparently, from what I'm skimming through here, that he moved sooner than he should have.
He wasn't supposed to reach out and blah, blah, blah. And,
yeah,
and then you guys did hear about...
I just watched the video.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, the astronauts. Did you hear about the issue they're having up on the ISS now?
No. I saw it, but I haven't read the story. I saw you had stuck it in there.
Well, I think you stuck it. Someone did, but astronauts aren't supposed to masturbate on the ISS.
Oh, that story. No. I thought you were talking about the robots. Since we're on a robot topic, I saw there was some robot, NASA robot, space robot, whatever story. I thought that was the one. Yeah, the one you're talking about is just, oh my God, I don't even understand what's going on anymore.
It does, even in zero gravity. It's just so ridiculous. They're saying that if an astronaut does masturbate, that he could impregnate 3, not just 1, but up to 3 female astronauts up on the ISS. I guess they'll just float around and swim and yeah, because we move so well, don't we? When we're weightless, right? In the 0G planes, once you're weightless, you can just swim through the air, right? No, you just float there. So, okay, a sperm does get away. What is this female astronaut doing? Is she not wearing clothes? I mean, if a female astronaut bumped into a seaman floating by and it got on her clothes, is that somehow going to impregnate her? I mean, really, are they floating around there naked in really weird positions, obviously? I don't know. But this just sounds so far from even NASA's reality. It's hard to believe they put this out there.
I'm still trying to. Oh, there it is. Finally, I'm sorry. I'm trying to catch up on that story and open it because I was lost in that other little robot space story for a second. Sorry.
Oh, it's just crazy. Yes, they float around naked masturbating, says Karen B. Oh, it's just.
Now, can I say I'm pretty sure that was a satire? I mean, Daily Star is.
So hold on. Here's what I'm saying.
This was a NASA engineer interview, and because Cammie did a bunch of research. She found all kinds of people covering this. Multiple people covering her. So it was actually said by a NASA engineer.
Yeah.
In an interview.
What it said.
What?
I know that source isn't the greatest source, but she found some other ones that were much more credible.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to have to get to is find that stuff. Because this one is actually referencing a Conan O'Brien podcast talking about space porn and blah, blah, blah. And it's just a whole thing. It leads me to believe that I'm kind of along that area now, too, that it's some kind of reference to jokingness that may have gotten out of hand.
I don't think anybody's claiming that sperm stay alive that long. Not like any real medical professional saying, oh, yeah, sperm just stay alive indefinitely in zero gravity. So if somebody masturbates and doesn't clean up after themselves, then they'll just stay around floating in living sperm until they finally come into contact with a woman. And then eventually it'll crawl up her toe to her ankle, to her knee, to her thigh, to her, all the way up till finally it's implanted and poof, she's going to be pregnant. And you can do that up to 3 different women. No, I mean, it's satire. It's got to be satire. Sperm does not live that long. There's got to be very specific conditions for sperm to stay alive. And floating around in 0G gravity, I don't think is one of them. Temperature, humidity, things like that are all very dependent on what are going to keep sperm alive long enough to impregnate anything, anybody, anywhere, anytime, let alone in the ISS.
And did you hear, as of yesterday?
Hold the phone. Okay, go.
Russia is pulling out of the ISS 2024.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's because if you don't pull out.
But it may take over a decade to build their own. So they said they might not have one till 2030 or indefinitely. So maybe this is Russia's way of slowly pulling away from space. I don't know. Just wishful thinking, probably. But yeah, they said they're leaving the ISS and it will take a long time to build their own, but that's their next project. Something like that.
Before we get out of here, I clicked over a story at the bottom. apparently NASA's amazing new $8 billion James Webb Telescope has 68 gigabyte memory card in it. Dude, I just bought a 128 gig card like days ago for like $20. But they can't afford a real memory card? I'm so confused. And it's all basically because, you ready? This is why. NASA reportedly chose the small storage drive because of how difficult it is to take photographs in space.
Sure. Well, because you don't want the extra weight of a larger memory card to throw off the balance, you see.
Oh my goodness.
It's harder, so we're not going to take as many pictures.
Space pictures is hard.
Oh, wait. The telescope is situated millions of miles from Earth. It has to contend with deadly space radiation and very slow internet speeds. Oh, my God. Oh, wait. What's more, NASA expects this storage space to shrink even further after 10 years due to wear and tear. Okay, we'll leave you with that one, ladies and gentlemen, to ponder for the rest of your day.
Love y'all.
It's not going to be because they're filling it up. It's meant to stay empty. 64 is 64. But for some reason, when it comes back in another 3 million years, it's going to only be like a 32.
Wow, sure, all that sperm talk summoned a sex bot to our chat. Epic. Cannot make this stuff up.
What craziness. And that is going to bring us here real close. Let's see. Nope. Yeah, how's that for close? Love you guys. We will see you next week. Fingers crossed. Who knows? Maybe I'll wake up, maybe I won't. But we do love you, and we will see you right back here tonight. More Stellium 7 coming up. I think we're going to actually get on some Earth talk. We'll see you then. Love you guys. Be good. Be well.